Alright guys, today we're going to look at our angles and figure out the measurement of them based on relationships. So you really need to know the rules of vertical, corresponding, adjacent, supplementary, complementary, etc. In order to do today's lesson, and all of those are on your notes page as a reminder. So for this one, I'm already given that angle 2 is 46 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. Now, I know that angle 3 is vertical to angle 2, which means that it's going to have the exact same measure. So I can go ahead and fill that in on both spots on my little table. And make sure that you're filling them in as well. Now, I know that angle 1 is supplementary to angle 1. I'm sorry, angle 1 is supplementary to angle 2. So to figure out the measure of that, I can just do 180 minus 46, which equals 134 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that one in. Now, angle 4 is vertical to angle 1, which means it'll have the same measure. So that's going to be 134 degrees as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those in on my chart. Now, lastly, I just need to figure out 5, 7, and 8. Well, let's go back to angle 2. If I know angle 2 is 46 degrees, angle 6 corresponds with angle 2, which means that they'll be congruent, which means that that will also be a measure of 46 degrees. Angle 4 corresponds with angle 8, which means they're congruent, so that measure will also be 134 degrees. Now, angle 7 is complementary to angle 8, and it also corresponds with angle 3, which means that angle 7 will be 46 degrees. And lastly, I have angle 5. I know that angle 7 and angle 5 are supplementary, and that angle 5 is vertical to angle 8. So it will also be congruent, which means it has a measure of 134 degrees. If you know the rules of vertical, corresponding, and so forth, and understand which ones are congruent, this is a pretty easy skill. Let's go on to another one. Alright guys, let's look at this one. I'm already given 42 degrees. I need to figure out the measure of angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do the easy ones first. I see that 42 degrees is vertical to angle 1. And if it's vertical, it means that they're going to have the exact same measurement. So angle 1 is 42 degrees. Now, I see that 42 degrees is going to be supplementary to angle 2 because it's along a straight line. So I can do 180 minus 42. And if I do that math, that comes out to 138 degrees. So angle 2 is going to be 138 degrees. Now, I'm going to move on to angle 3. What I know about angle 3 is that it corresponds with angle 1. And if they correspond, the angles are congruent. So if angle 1 is 42 degrees, angle 3 will be 42 degrees. Now, my last thing that I have to figure out is angle 4. I see that angle 3 and angle 4 are going to combine to make a right angle, which means they are complementary. So to figure out the value of angle 4, I can do 90 minus 42. If I do 90 minus 42, that's going to be 48 degrees. Alright guys, if you know the rules of these angles and complementary, supplementary, and so forth, this is a pretty simple lesson. If you don't, we need to really spend today understanding which angles become congruent and which ones are not, and which ones are supplementary versus complementary. Let's go ahead and practice this. I think that's the best way to get better.